Right, good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name's Angus Barnes and I'm the Executive Chair here at the Wine Communicators of Australia. Today's webinar is on wine education and what courses are offered here in Australia. The aim of today is to give you a more detailed understanding of the types of courses run by the four institutions that I'll mention. It's by no means an exhaustive list of all the great and good wine educators in Australia, nor will it cover all the education options that are available to us. The intent was to focus on wine marketing, sales, and appreciation studies. Today's webinars will be presented by four leading wine educators in Australia: Jeff Cowie, Senior Oenologist from the Australian Wine and Research Institute; Joe Turnatui, Lead Educator and Cellar Masters from the Sydney Wine Academy; Associate Professor Sue Bastian, who's the Associate Professor in Oenology and Century Studies at the University of Adelaide; and Joshua Bear, Lecturer, TAFE SA, Wine and Spirits Schools. Each of the four speakers will be given the opportunity to present on their own courses and institution, and we've allowed plenty of time for any questions that you may have answered at the end of the webinar. However, feel free to send them through as they come to mind. And just as a reminder, you can do this via the Q&A button, which is at the bottom of your screen, of each of your screens, and type your questions in there. As usual, the webinar will be recorded and a link this recording will be sent for you should you wish to watch the content again at a later stage. It's now my pleasure to hand you over to Jeff Cowie, Senior Oenologist at the Australian Wine and Research Institute, as the first speaker in today's presentation. The Australian Wine and Research Institute, or the AWRI, is the Australian grape and wine industry's own research organisation. It supports a sustainable and successful grape and wine industry through world-class research, practical solutions and knowledge transfer. The AWRI offers a range of wine education tastings, including introductory wine flavour, taste and fault identification, aroma threshold assessments, theme tastings, and of course, the prestigious Advanced Wine Assessment course, or the AWAC. Founded in 1992, the AWAC aims to advance the sensory analysis capabilities and vocabulary of wine industry personnel to an elite level and to develop new wine show judges. Over to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Angus, and thanks, Prue, and good afternoon, everyone. Also, thanks for the opportunity to talk to you today. Yes, as Angus said, my name's Jeff Cowie, so I'm a winemaker here at the AWRI and across help desk, extension and educational activities. So today I'm going to highlight three of the courses Angus mentioned that are our tasting course offerings from the Advanced Wine Assessment course, or AWAC, flavour, taint and fault identification and threshold tests. So premier or prestigious course is the Advanced Wine Assessment course, or AWAC. 1992, it was established by some industry figureheads. That includes the director at the time here, Terry Lee, but also Jeff Weaver, Brian Crozer, Peter Lesky, and amongst others. Since then, we've delivered 58 courses and there are 1,381 graduates. There's generally 2 or 3 courses offered a year. Originally, it was 30 participants held at Adelaide Showgrounds or other places. We've reduced that now to 16 participants, really to give a greater participant experience to the judges. The next course dates are shown there, and just highlight or thank, there are some sponsors as well shown on screen. Some of these will sponsor or put forward a person and help fund them through this course for whether that be ASVO or associations like the Barossa Grape and Wine, where they'll also ask us to do a 1 or a 1.5 day AWAC, and that's to help select participants for their regional wine show. There are a few aims. Why would you do AWAC? Some people will do it to really dissect their palate, understand how they taste, what are aromas, flavours, and then how you put all that together to assess wine quality. A large aim is to really demonstrate the different practices and techniques you can do when you're in a wine show judging situation or assessing wine quality. And a large part of that is to workshop about how to communicate your wine quality assessments to other judges, because that's a big part of the wine show system. It's possibly the only course where we really do a deep dive into participant statistics in terms of how reliable they are and can they differentiate different wine quality levels. And all of these aims come together to really prepare or make Wine Show ready the next batch of judges for the Australian Wine Show system. What does it look like? So course format, it's 4 days. It's relatively long days. And we have 3 guest judges and an ARI facilitator that mentor the participants each day. The wines are generally less than 100, and there are a wide range of styles, including both international benchmark wines as well as Australian wines replicating wines from a show. Who does this course? Yes, it can be winemakers and grape growers, but there's a large number of wine trade, sommeliers. Generally on any tasting group in a wine show, you'll have someone technical, someone from trade or from on trade or marketplace, but writers, people that have done the diploma in WSET or MWs, and even general public. Either way, there is a prerequisite. It's an advanced course. You do have to have a detailed tasting experience, and that's generally around that 5-year mark. So we have some guest judges who act as our mentors and share their experiences from wine judging. So these are the judges from our last course, and also an honour roll of all the people that have been involved as judges. You can find more information about that on our website, but really thank them for mentoring the next breed. What do we show? The first section of AWAC is really a panel alignment session. So we will replicate wines from a recent show. We'll select the trophy, a gold, silver, bronze medal, or several of those, and some no medal winning wines, and really go through them to work out or to calibrate to the guest judges, I suppose, in some ways. We then take varietal classes or classes from current shows. That could also be different blends, and taste according to the Australian ASVO wine show guidelines. We have larger tastings, but also smaller group sessions where tasters will judge like they would in a show with 3 or 5 judges. And where it's different to shows though, we will do quite large brackets of just generally mixed whites, and that's really all reds. And that's really to challenge the concept of when you're assessing wine quality. We will replicate some wines throughout the different tasting classes within the class, across the day and across the different days. And that allows us to really look at a judge reliability, or are they repeatable when they judge, which is quite important if you're judging quality. We will also see, are they all judging all wines as bronze or all wines as gold? Do they use a spread of results? And also how stable they are. Ideally you want to be quite stable, but some judges may continually increase their scores as a course goes along. And then a big part of wine judging is how you communicate about these wines, about why it is a gold medal or why it isn't awarded a medal at all. So we also look at and combine ability to communicate in this course as one of the features. So that's the Advanced Wine Assessment course. We do offer a few other options as well. And this course, which is looking at wine flavours, taints and faults. So this might be, why does Cabernet taste like Cabernet? What are the key aromas in that? But also looking at some common taints and faults you might expect to see. And we'll use spiked samples so that you're confident that what you're smelling is Brett and not VA or not some other faults in a real wine with that particular issue. So people do this course. If they're in technical in a winery, they might want to do it to know, can they actually smell Brettanomyces? Or for taints, they might be screening their additives for taints before using them in a production sense. Otherwise, we'll do this quite commonly at cellar door, where they might be wanting to know, is this wine oxidized? How many days can this wine be open? And you're still confident to serve it to a consumer. Or what is reduction, good and bad? So yeah, cellar doors, we do this course for sommeliers, sometimes training before wine shows as well as a calibration. So it can be done anywhere. This is a us doing it on Sydney Harbour, but yeah, cellar doors can be done here, quite flexible and adaptable to your own situation. And lastly, another course, which is a step above this really, is threshold assessment. So some people might be confident knowing a particular aroma, but they might be in a winery and want to know who is the most sensitive to smoke taint, given the recent fires that we've had, and if you're doing a bucket ferment, to make a picking decision on whether this wine will be smoky or not. Or they might have had it might be also used by wine business people that want to be confident about TCA or oxidation if they're serving high-end wines to clients. So as with all aromas, there's a general distribution where most people can smell an aroma. These are best estimate aroma thresholds, but there will be some people that will be super sensitive, and likely, and just the same, there'll be some people that are less sensitive, or sometimes anosmic. And some of those flavors, things like pepper, I think many people are familiar with that. Some people just can't smell it at any concentration. Yeah, so these courses are around 3 hours, generally for 15 to 20 people. We can do it at the winery. It does involve a lot of glasses, so I'd probably bring them to you, or we can do it here. So we've done this at conferences, regional associations, where smaller wineries have come together, or typically for winemaking teams. What does it look like? As you can see, generally a series of triangle tests where you have to pick the odd one out, and then you do that up to 6 times, and each time we increase the concentration of a flavour or a taint. We can do it manually with paper. This is an example of a winery where we've done it in Sue's lab at Adelaide University, in our lab at the AWRI. So if you want any more information or want to attend any of these courses, you can contact or reach out to the events team, or find out more information on the AWRI website here. That's me wrapped up. So I look forward to hearing from the rest of the presenters today. Thanks, Angus.
Thanks, Jeff. I must say that in the bushfires of 1990 and 2020, we used the AWRI when I was at the New South Wales Wine Industry Association to work with winemakers in particular to see who was tolerant to smoke, and it was really amazing to see the differences between people's ability to pick out smoke in wine. So we were very grateful to the AWRI for that assistance. Don't forget, if you'd like to ask any questions, there's the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. I'd now like to pass the stage to Joe Turnaturi, and Joe is the lead educator and the cellar master at the Sydney Wine Academy, which is part of TAFE New South Wales. The Sydney Wine Academy is an award-winning provider of world-class training for the hospitality and wine industry, as well as for wine enthusiasts. The Sydney Wine Academy offers a wide range of courses, from the Wine and Spirit Education Trust Level 1 Award in wine through to the WSET Level 4 Diploma in Wine, Wine Scholar Guild Certification, California Capstone, Rioja Academy Certification, WSET Spirits, and bespoke training options. Over to you, Joe.
Thanks, Angus, and thank you to the wine communicators for giving me the opportunity here. I am one of the main lecturers here at the Sydney Wine Academy, and I have undertaken all of these courses that we do offer. So we are, one of Sydney's main providers there for the Sydney Wine Academy. We are a boutique brand of TAFE New South Wales, and we concentrate ourselves in international and our own qualifications. We tend to avoid the training package, as we find that industry is more interested in getting international qualifications that are more suited to their needs, as opposed to training packages there. So we do have our own lecturers, and we do use a lot of MWs in our process there. So just a little bit there about our situation there. incredibly high reputation. We do run courses 50 weeks of the year, so because we're not tied to the TAFE timetable, we can deliver during during term breaks. It's just really over the Christmas period that we're closed there. So these are some of our partners where we have delivered courses with, both at campus and going to the going on site to the organizations. Cartier was our last one that we did a bespoke course with, but we've also been to places such as Mollymook and going out to Mudgee. But in terms of what our bread and butter is, we are the main approved program provider for Sydney and delivering the all levels of the qualification, both for wines and for spirits. This is just a few facts and figures that I did pull off the website, just to show from WSET, just to show you what the reach is for WSET and how it's a worldwide qualification and something which anyone can obtain and take it with you to another place to for employment positions and employment work, overseas. You can also transfer your qualification. So if you start your WSET journey in Australia and you do move to overseas, you can transfer your qualifications over there and you continue your journey at another college there. So that's the one big benefit about WSET. So what are the qualifications that are on offer? So these are the ones with regards to wines. And as you can see, there are 4 qualifications there. Both level 1 and level 2, they're your introductory qualifications. The level 1 is a 7-hour course, and that's very basic, more to do with people that need to be introduced to tannins, alcohol, and grape varieties, and getting basic information with regards to wine. Most students start off in level 2, which is an 8-session program, and that looks at the major grape varieties around the world, and it's done on a grape variety basis. So you do cover your international varieties, and then you will go across looking at important varieties in individual countries. And Hunter Semillon does feature quite prominently in that, being how Hunter Semillon is quite unique in the wine world there. Level 3, that's pitched to people working in the hospitality industry, more, that familiar kind of role. And it is quite detailed in the approach of what is required to learn. So you do go into a lot more detail in terms of winemaking, viticulture. It is more based on countries with level 3, as opposed with level 2 is more based on varieties. So you are getting into information that people working as wine waiters and sommeliers would find very appropriate there. Finally, level 4 diploma. That is the top qualification for WSET. And for those of you who do achieve the diploma, it is a stepping stone to Master of Wine. That is a 2-year course divided into units, which gives you a broad aspect in terms of viticulture, wine production, wines of the world. You do also look at wine business and have an assignment there in part of your production process there. So but that course is divided into units. We do even though these courses are structured for wine professionals and people in the industry, they're also open to people who just have a general interest in wine. So it's not just limited to people in the actual industry there. So we have had doctors, lawyers, people involved in science, marketing, who have studied with us. In fact, even just wine collectors, people who are just interested in wine. They have studied with us and gone through all the way to diploma and have done quite well at diploma. So it is available to anyone that does have an interest in wine, not just working in the industry. And this is our main focus that we do have. We have broadened our horizons a little bit here, and we're now moving into spirits. These are new qualifications that WSET have been teaching for the past 2 or 3 years. And because spirits used to be part of the wine qualification, so they've now taken them out and created their own individual courses. That's why you've got the S in WSET, and now we're taking those on board. In future, we may take on the beer qualification. So this will be coming up this year here at the Academy. It's the first time we'll be offering those. But this is our main focus here. This is just a quick little snapshot of some of the student and teacher awards that we have achieved over the years. As you can see, we have been International Educator of the Year with WSET, and we've had students in the finalist awards for the CIVC Champagne Awards. We do offer more specialized courses, and that is with the Wine Scholar Guild. And this is a organization based out of Washington, but they do offer courses that is a deep dive into France, Italy, and Spain. So France and Spain, they're 8-week courses that go through the main wine regions of the country. Whereas Italy, that's divided into north and south. So there's actually 2 courses for Italy. These are very detailed courses. So the level of knowledge required is similar to is at the same level as what is required for diploma in WSET. So a lot of information. A lot of that information is very peculiar to certain wine regions and in the use of terminology. But you do taste some pretty amazing wines with this. Wines that you would not taste as part of level 3 or diploma, because this is a real deep dive into these countries. There is a very good online program with that to help you with your studies. And it does give you an inroad into the Wine Scholar Guild membership, where this organization organizes annual trips through all the wine regions of Europe. And you're going to places such as Moselle. I went on a recent trip where I went to Tuscany and Umbria, looking at those wine regions. Helena, who teaches French Wine Scholar, she's off to Burgundy next week. And that's all done through the Wine Scholar Guild, where you really do need to be in there looking at those regions to fully understand them. And they are led by experts. And like WSET, this is a worldwide organization. My pins didn't quite match up with the country because I had to shrink the map a bit, but just gives you an idea as where you'll find Wine Scholar Guild and where the graduates are located. And that's an indication of the study of the providers with that. We do offer a number of more bespoke courses, and the first one that we have here is Californian Wines Capstone. This is the course that I teach with the Californian Wine Institute. So this is an online program, and there are 4 levels. We do have, well, I've had wines imported from California, especially for this course, because there is a 3-hour review and tasting session which we hold here at RIDE, and that's coming up for our first one in April. But again, this is a program which Capstone have developed, and it's a worldwide program delivered in a number of colleges around Australia. So 4 levels then. Our next one, again, an online program, is Certified Rioja, which Helena is the educator, and that was done through the Consejo Regulador of Rioja and the Rioja Wine School. Again, an online study, but you do come into class for 2 sessions to taste the wines and to do a review. We do offer other courses. This is our little aroma room that we provide there. So there's Introductory Sommeliers, which is just an introduction, which a lot of just wine enthusiasts do. Advanced Sommeliers is our alternative to level 2, which is developed by the Sydney Wine Academy, and it also includes a spirits component. So we've got Mastering Australian Wines, Giro Italian Wines, and Bordeaux Wine Simplified. They are our online courses, which we deliver online. We've had students come from places as far away as the United Kingdom and Denmark enrolling in Mastering Australian Wine. So you come online, do the lecture, or it's recorded, and we organise for a 6-pack where you can purchase in addition to the course. It's an optional purchase, and you can taste that with the lecturer. So we deliver the Mastering Australian Wine. Matt Irwin usually delivers Giro d'Italia, as he is a VIA ambassador, and VIA is one of the top wine courses, and Border Wine Simplified, that is delivered by Annual Araldi there. So really quite unique and quite bespoke in some of our producers there. So, and to find out more, there you've got David Hickson, he's our head teacher, but you've also got my email there and our Facebook and Instagram spaces there. Angus, thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you, Joe. And again, it was pleasing to see that in the highlights from the Sydney Wine Academy was the Clive Hartley winning the Wine Communicators of Australia Legend of the Vine Award in 2017, which was a great day. Now back to South Australia, I'd like to hand over to Associate Professor Susan Bastian, who is the Associate Professor in Oenology and Sensory Studies at the University of Adelaide. The University of Adelaide is a world-class research and teaching institution that is celebrating its 150th anniversary in 2024. They're centred on discovering new knowledge, pursuing innovation, and preparing the educated leaders of tomorrow. The University of Adelaide has pushed the boundaries in wine education, delivering innovative and transformative courses in viticulture, oenology, and wine business, and producing a network of alumni that have gone on to make real-world impact in the world of wine. With a unique emphasis on both the production and sales aspects of wine, the university's viticulture and oenology and wine business programs are tailored for a career in the wine industry. Over to you, Susan.
Thanks, Angus, and thanks, Pro and Wine Communicators, for allowing this opportunity for us to talk about mainly our wine business programs. I'm just checking, are you seeing my PowerPoint screen? Hopefully. Okay, so today, rather than the renowned Associate Professor Rebecca Dolan, who is actually the Program Director of Wine Business at Adelaide Business School, you've got this slightly older and crustier academic stepping in to help out with this webinar. I have taught into the wine business programs, but I'm actually an enologist, winemaker, and I'm a sensory and consumer academic at the university, but I will try to answer any questions on the wine business programs, and if I can't, I will find out for you. Before I start, though, I wanted to acknowledge that I'm speaking from Kaurna country, and we acknowledge and pay our respects to the Kaurna people, who are the traditional custodians of this land that I'm speaking from. And we also acknowledge their deep feelings of attachment and relationship to country, and we respect their values, past, present, and ongoing, in the connection to the land and their cultural beliefs. So why choose the University of Adelaide? I guess when considering further study options, why really should students choose the University of Adelaide? The university is actually, I'm proud to say, ranked in the top 1% of universities worldwide. And we're also a member of this G8, which means that we are one of the top 8 research institutes in Australia. And I wanted to emphasise that, we really are an internationalised centre of learning. I was just in the Napa Valley the other day and caught up with 4 of our past students at the International Viticulture and Oenology Society meeting held in the Napa. It's a tough gig, but it's part of my job, fortunately. And I've personally taught students from New Zealand, Thailand, Vietnam, the South Americas, USA, Canada, UK, France, and as far flung as Armenia, Albania, Latvia, Lithuania. So you can see that we really are an international university, and we have a lot of international partners like UC Davis, Supagro Bordeaux, and Geisenheim. And our academics collaborate with these researchers and international industry around the world. And, as a consequence as well, we have a very strong demand for our graduates around the world. There are also opportunities to undertake study tours internationally. I've been very fortunate to be able to host tours in Sicily and also in Spain. And these days I can't really travel anywhere without bumping into one of our graduates. So Of course, the other bonus when it comes to studying wine-related learning in Australia, and particularly Adelaide, is that at the University of Adelaide, and both are wine business course in the city and the Wake campus, which is a little way out of the city, smack in the middle of a region that has 18 geographical indications, which is producing about 50% of Australian wines. And as a consequence, we can have guests from industry come and present into our courses. They also act as an advisement group for all of our programs. And as I said, all our academics have strong interactions with industry. So as I said, I teach into the wine science program, and I have done into the wine marketing, but I just wanted to touch on the wine science briefly because it is interrelated with the wine business courses, and it actually makes our offerings overall quite unique because we're really one of the only universities that teaches across the whole value chain. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, the Wine Science Group is based at the beautiful Wake campus, which is only a few kilometres from the CBD. Most of us are housed in the purpose-built Wine Innovation Central building. We share that building with the AWRI, so I know Jeff quite well. And the other academics are located in our industry scale winery, and we're considered to be the #1 educational and research university in Australia, and we're probably ranked within the top 3 to 5 in the world. And luckily, we are also co-located with a number of other organisations who do conduct grape and wine research, such as the AWRI, CSIRO and SARDI, amongst others, and all our academics collaborate with them as well. And what I wanted to emphasise today on behalf of wine business and wine science is that our academics are actually at the cutting edge of research in their disciplines. And Rebecca Dolan gave me an anecdote the other day saying that she sometimes finds herself analysing research results and writing peer-reviewed publications for journals, and then in the morning and then the afternoon she goes and teaches that in her lectures. So it really is underpinned by our research. So we have a great team in wine sciences. This is all their happy faces here. Again, it spreads across viticulture through to wine enology and then sensory and consumer science as well. And I mention this because our wine business students are also able to take some of our courses as electives, particularly in production and also sensory evaluation of wine. But also, over the years, we have run a number of short courses on demand, mainly in wine sensory evaluation for industry training, but also on faults and taints. We look at personal palate mapping, so you understand the strengths and weaknesses of your palates. We've conducted wine masterclasses looking at various styles, varieties and regions. And for those of you that are interested, we actually have a short course at the moment on distillation as well. And I undertake a great deal of these sensory evaluation training courses because I'm a qualified winemaker, but also been an international wine judge, and I've been, I hate to say it, but teaching, researching winemaking for 22 years. And I believe that you've probably heard with the upcoming amalgamation of the University of Adelaide with the University of South Australia, there's going to be even more emphasis on continuous professional development because having these short courses and having more flexible options to upskill for industry, because our Deputy Vice Chancellors see this as the way of modern universities moving forward and being more flexible. So I'm not going to go into any great detail, but here are the list of courses over the years that the Bachelor of Viticulture and Enology students would undertake. And these are for the Master of Viticulture and Enology. And Angus tells me that there will be another session looking more at the wine science side in another webinar. So I just wanted to sort of touch on this, and I know that you can look at this later as well. So focusing now on the Adelaide Business School, they are located in the wonderful Nexus building, which is on North Terrace, smack bang in the middle of the CBD. And they have a great team of academics and industry professionals that teach into this course. I've listed them here. I haven't got any pretty pictures of them, I'm afraid, but they're a good-looking bunch. And like our wine science colleagues, our wine business fellows also have established very strong networks, and some of the partners are mentioned here. We've got Wine Australia, who is our regulatory body and R&D funding body. We've heard from Jeff about the AWI, and also what I want to point out is that they also have connections with the Wine Alumni Network, and also this wine industry mentoring program, which is part of Wine Communicators of Australia. And this allows students to continue their lifelong learning journey and stay connected with their current student cohort and other folk in the industry as well. Great Wine Capitals has also we're a part of that. Adelaide is seen as a great wine capital, and we've had PhD students just recently win bursaries to go overseas to present their research and talk to and network with people who are top in their field overseas as well. So you may be wondering where a career in wine business can take you, and listed here are a number of career options. So obviously you could be in marketing, whether it's working for a large company or maybe a consultancy type firm. You could be running cellar doors and training teams of staff and running wine clubs and hosting special events for a given winery. You might go into export or import. Wine tourism obviously is a burgeoning area and a very exciting area of the sector. You could become a retail manager and run retail outlets, or indeed be buying wine, a business analyst, or you could be working in the logistics and supply chain section, or maybe even branch into hospitality, where you might become a sommelier or an entrepreneur. What I realize is missing on here is you might want to become a future researcher or even an academic. So if you're looking for a career progression, or indeed a change of direction, or even if you want to start a career in wine business, studying wine business at the University of Adelaide will definitely improve your employment prospects. The programs are developed to meet the demands of today's businesses and the growing industry sectors, and offers lots of flexible learning options. So as I said, they're located in the heart of Adelaide, which is one of the world's great wine capitals. They are very connected with the best in industry. They've had a lot of skin in the game, and they've been developing future wine professionals since 1977. And we've been educating winemakers at the university since 1936. But of course, we were linked to the Roseworthy Agricultural College, which started in the 1800s. As I said, coursework are delivered by leaders in their field, plus industry connections. There's lots of opportunities for internships to build real world experiences, which are built into our programs. There's also international exchange options, which are obviously enhance students' learning experience even more, and the mentoring opportunity. And as I said, they have room in their programs to access hand-on experience in winemaking, and also in sensory evaluation at the Wake campus as well. And we certainly see a number of the wine business students in my sensory courses, for example. And as I mentioned, there's that membership with Wine Communicators of Australia and the Wine Alumni to keep their connections and networking opportunities going. So there are double degree options, but this is just a breakdown of the study plan. So you could come in to do a graduate certificate in wine business and stop there with 4 courses, or you could upgrade to a graduate diploma in wine business, which is an extra 4 courses and a 1 year full-time, or go all the way and do the Masters of Wine Business, which is 2 years of full-time study. Of note, students that have a Bachelor of Viticulture and Enology degree, or maybe they've got a postgrad degree in viticulture and enology, can also use their subjects as credit towards the Master of Wine Business, and as a consequence, they can finish that program in 1.5 years as opposed to the 2 years. Now, Rebecca kindly put this slide together for me, and this lists the different types of courses that are offered in the programs and for the different levels of postgraduate courses. I'm not familiar with these apart from mainly the Foundations of Wine Science, because I have taught into that, but you can see there's a number of electives where they have the flexibility, and you can definitely go to the university's website and plug in these names and you'll pull up the more detailed on the course content for these different programs. So I hope I have done my wine business colleagues proud and the program justice. Thanks for listening, and I'll be happy to attempt any questions that you may have later as well. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Susan. You have done your colleagues proud. As Susan said, if you've got any questions, please don't forget to use the Q&A button down at the bottom of the page. Lastly, we're going to move on to Joshua Bear, who is the lecturer at TAFE SA Wine and Spirit School. The TAFE SA Wine and Spirit School brings together a range of professional short courses for people working in the field of wine, spirits, hospitality and tourism, as well as those with just a personal interest in wine and spirits. Delivered by industry experts, TAFE SA Wine and Spirits courses aim to develop comprehensive knowledge and tasting skills, covering the significant wines and spirits of the world and their respective regions, along with practical service applications and business insights. Over to you, Joshua.
Hi, everyone. Angus, can you hear me okay just for the second? Excellent. Thanks for having me on board, Prue and team, and thanks also to everyone else who's spoken before me. I think that's been excellent to hear as well. So for those who I haven't met out there online at the moment, my name is Josh Bear, and I've been teaching at the Wine and Spirit School at TAFE SA since 2018. The Wine and Spirit School offers a range of professional development courses centred mainly around the delivery of WSET's suite of international qualifications. And as Joe alluded to, they're internationally recognised courses, and we offer the full suite as well in wines and spirits. I'll highlight some of those offerings in a minute. And as we heard from before, Joe's done a really excellent job of outlining the full range of WSET courses that are currently on offer in Australia and their own merits and rigours. So I won't deep dive back into those individual courses, but I will highlight some of our current offerings. What I wanted to do today was something maybe just a little bit different and provide us a slightly more anecdotal account of how my own sort of decisions around training, qualifications and upskilling have brought me to be delivering some of the same sort of qualifications that I sought out over the period of my working life, and hopefully it resonates with some of you out there listening now who are maybe have individual circumstances where you're weighing up what to do next, sort of in your job or in your training scenarios. So a little bit of background: I was brought on board by Jill Gordon-Smith at the inception of the Wine and Spirits School. Most of us out there would know Jill as a former Wine Educator of the Year and Wine Communicator of the Year. And Jill helped take the Wine and Spirits School to its own Wine Communicators Award in 2020, where we won Best Wine Educator. And it was through sort of Jill's foresight and drive over many years that enabled TAFE SA to establish a range of professional educational options based around the delivery of WSET courses, blended with TAFE SA's own offerings in the fields of sensory evaluation, viticulture, and winemaking. So my background isn't in academics, and it's not in education. So previously I've worked as a cellar door manager down in McLaren Vale, and I've worked in wine and spirits retail. But originally I started my life in graphic design and advertising, and made the shift to wine later on in my professional career. But one thing I have learned, and I'm sure all of the other people that have spoken here will attest to, that everyone learns differently. And not only that, the style and the model of their educational choices, it's often impacted on where they are in their life or in their career cycle. So, as I said, I originally worked as a graphic designer, and when I was planning on leaving school, going back a few years now, and making some of these choices about how my tertiary studies would take shape, I was tossing up between a course known as Visual Communication at TAFE SA and a similar course run out of UniSA's City West campus. And ultimately, I went with TAFE, the TAFE course, after discussions with people in industry over the course of doing various work placements and and job training. And eventually the style of the delivery, the cost of the course, and my ultimate employment opportunities post-study all sort of factored in. So this initial career path for me proved fruitful for a few years before I found myself at a bit of a crossroads and weighing up whether I go back to uni or what industry I wanted to work in moving forward. And so I enrolled originally into the older Bachelor of Wine Marketing at Adelaide Uni, and I quickly found out that a university pathway just wasn't going to be for me. It didn't sync with me, it didn't gel. And that particular sort of journey for me was over pretty quickly, unfortunately. So while I might not have been cut out for that pathway, I started chipping away at WSET qualifications while I was simply working in a bottle shop. I was, working bottle shops for a few years, and then ended up sort of doing a few WSET courses through my employer or self-funded, and then sort of chipped away at various sort of levels with Dan Murphy's and Woolworths, up to the point of being a fine wine manager and staff trainer. And it was a way for me to sort of upskill, grow knowledge, and immediately apply it to the field I was working with at the time. And then I chipped away at other bits and pieces as well. I did AWAC, I think back in AWAC 37. I had an employer at the time who was able to part fund me through that. And then I did some of those other course offerings, like the old Wine 101X that was developed by Kerry Wilkinson and team, and was just constantly just chipping away at little things while I was working. So we flash forward a few more years from that, and those various skills and qualifications that I'd racked up enabled me to start delivering WSET courses with TAFE SA as an APP alongside Jill, and the newly established Wine and Spirits School. So these days, I find myself with a lot of students from very wide and diverse backgrounds at different stages of their working life or in their study life. We have university students coming to Adelaide, as we've heard from Sue and from Jeff as well. Adelaide obviously being a hub of wine education. So we get a lot of students who might be currently studying enology or viticulture, and they wanting to gain some extra experience or skills. I get a lot of people wanting to make a career change. They've been doing something for a number of years, and it's time that they want to enjoy a bit of a lifestyle switch or a career switch, and they're wanting to think about the wine industry. And we get a lot of industry professionals wanting to gain deeper knowledge, upskill, while continuing to work in industry. So at the Wine and Spirits School, we offer a range of options from sort of beginner through to advanced courses, culminating in the WSET Level 4 Diploma of Wines, which we've been offering, I think, since 2020. And we're now starting to see some of those graduates moving into the Master of Wine program, as Joe's alluded to previously, the Level 4 diploma being the jumping off point for those wanting to move into the MW program. So what I've found as well is not everyone wants to or is able to go down the university education pathway, or might not be able to commit to full-time study at the point of life that they're in. So courses like the ones that we provide give options for those working in industry or wanting to get into industry, and just provide some more flexible options, I find. So as I've mentioned, we see a lot of students coming across from possibly studying enology or wine business here in Adelaide, and possibly due to their cultural background or their general life experience, they want to upskill their general wine tasting experience, sensory evaluation, and their overall wine knowledge. And that could be complementary to some of their other academic studies in wine business or winemaking and viticulture. So we often see those students coming through as well. So what I'm just going to do now is, I had a bit of a tech glitch before, so I'm just going back to some fairly basic ways of sharing screens and presentations. I just wanted to highlight here, hopefully everyone can see that one now. You'll find us here at TAFE SA. .edu.au/wine and spirits, And you can jump on there at the moment and see some of the current courses. We've got a range of testimonials and other information on the courses that we're offering. As I've mentioned, Joe has done a great job of explaining a lot of these WSET style courses, so I won't go back through the rigors of those. But I will just mention that we do offer a level 1 to 3 in spirits, as well as level 1 through to the diploma in wines. And then we have a range of other courses that we offer, things like small scale winemaking up at our Nuriupta campus, a bit more of a small batch winemaking course where students get a bit more hands-on. Barossa Wine School level 1 and 2, my offsider Sally Johnson is currently delivering those sort of up in the Barossa. And while we have these range of WSET courses that I'm sure we're all familiar with now, we also do a lot of work with industry associations and get out there into the regions. So we're currently delivering a bit of more of a bespoke customer service course up in the Adelaide Hills, and we've mapped that to their own individual or Cellador Awards program. And we're looking to maybe roll that out with some other regions as well. We've done some work with various hotel groups and retail chains where we might map in a WSET course and then contextualise to their own requirements as well. So really having a bit more of a range of some of those bespoke options as well. So you can jump onto the site here and have a look at the current options that we've got at the minute, see all the pricings and the durations, and then you can get in contact with us directly from this particular website as well. So as I said, I won't break down all of those individuals again. So at the minute, we've heard some of the other guys allude to this as well, and we're really set up in a fantastic position in South Australia to have a really complementary suite of wine education options. And we've heard about some of those world-renowned courses at the moment. What we've also heard about is the calibre of some of the educators that we have access to here in South Australia. So another thing that I feel with us at the Wine and Spirits School helps build a strong rapport and relationship with our students is that all of our lecturers and subject matter experts work in industry. They've got a wide range of backgrounds and experience, and they can really help students navigate their wine study pathway to hopefully get the most out of their experience. So we have wonderful lecturers on board like Phil Reedman, MW, David Lemire, MW, Jeff Cowie, who you've just heard from before, comes along board and teaches some of our winemaking parts of our diploma course. We've had Fiona Donaldson and a number of others come through over the years. So we're really quite fortunate to have those people on board as well. So at the end of the day, we occasionally still get people that come through on a course and they'll say, look, I'm only here. Look, my boss has offered to pay for level 2. I'm here because they've sent me. And then what's really quite exciting though, is we often see people come through at level 2 or level 1. They're very green. They've got little to no experience. But within 18 months, we've seen them go through, maybe do level 3, maybe go into the diploma program. We've got people here currently in our diploma program that only started sort of their wine journey in the last sort of 18 months or so. And they've made big career choices. Now they're now empowered and passionate industry professionals. So that's us at the Wine and Spirits School. Hopefully something, as I said, from everyone from beginners starting out to those industry professionals who are wanting to be at the top of their game. And if I can just make a quick little spruik, if you are interested in maybe looking at a job in wine education, we've actually got a call out now for casual wine education lecturers to join the team here at the Wine and Spirits School. If you jump on a Seek and just search wine education jobs, you'll find the Take for Say job up there this week. So thank you very much, Angus. I'll hand back to you now, and thanks for your time today.
Good. Thank you, Joshua, and thank you all speakers for what has been a comprehensive exploration and explanation of the courses that is offered across the course of those 4 institutions. Now, again, if there are any questions, please answer them. I'm not overwhelmed with questions at this point in time, but I might ask a couple of my own, if I may, in the last few minutes. And I'll start with you, Jeff. You talk about the AWAC and the data that comes out of it and how you analyse the judging. And again, I've been involved in a number of wine shows. How does the show system rely on the data that comes out, and how do you work with the various shows?
Thanks, Angus. Yeah, so we've actually looked at the statistics for each class as they come through, but nerd angle as well. We do look at that with the whole whole group of graduates that we've had as well, which can be quite fun to look at. But really down to it is to, and this is looking at statistics of tasters when they do the course. Everyone's going to learn. They may do some other courses, improve, or there's different situations. So it's a snapshot, I should say, of their performance over that week. But what it does do is that when we have successful candidates or that are quite well, we will work with different regional associations who will come to us, ask us, we're looking for a new associate judge, who can you recommend? So we'll put forward the names of those people in those instances, not that are just have been exposed to a wide range of wines and that can discriminate quality, but also those that communicate really well as well. So that's how we work quite hand in hand with the national shows, but also some of the regional shows as well.
Thanks, Jeff. I must say that I think that the show system has improved in that. In the old days, one wine would win a trophy at one show and win no medal at the next show, and I think those days have changed. And I think the showrunner system and the analysis of data, and indeed the way our judges are chosen, have something to do with it. So my second question to you, and it's just a quick one and a selfish one maybe, is the AWAC course is fantastic. I did mine back in 1995 in the buildings at Sydney University. Do you think there'll be a day coming up soon that we can move that AWAC conference around the country?
Good question. So yeah, we have done a few different places. So the full course, when it was 30 people, in your day, probably about that number as well. So we've held it over in Victoria in the Yarra Valley. There's quite a big logistic effort when we're doing that many people as well. So you're sort of talking, 5,000, 10,000 glasses. So often that's one of the limitations. But we also have hosted 1 or 2 day abridged versions. Like I mentioned, we've done it in the Barossa. We have actually taken it over to the UK and Hong Kong as well to give a taste of education. And that results in people, and typically in an AWAC course, people will come from international to do that. So we are exploring, as you know, trying to have a look at options in different parts of the world. Really is about trying to make sure we get all the candidates that we can there. And part of it as well, from a participant's point of view, is that you actually want a lot of people from diverse backgrounds. So you want wine writers and master of wines. Yes, you want some winemakers thrown in there as well. But that conversation that you have, the same as what you would have at a show, is what's really valuable when you have those discussions about why is this a benchmark example of Shiraz.
Yeah. Good. Thanks, Jeff. Joe, I noticed that the Sydney Wine Academy does quite a bit of online education in the wine space. How does this differ from face-to-face, and how do you deal with the silly things like tasting wines, etc.?
Well, it is different from face-to-face, and we always find, especially with wine tasting, face-to-face is probably ideal. But these courses allow us to approach students, Australia-wide and in fact worldwide. The way we deal with wine tastings is they've all got a link to a 6-pack of wine which they can purchase, and because we organise that with our suppliers and people that we have relationships with. So bit of a problem with my students that we get in the United Kingdom and Denmark. They tend not to want to drink wine at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, which I can't understand why, but if it was me, I'd probably still drink it. But yeah, but no, in Australia, they get the 6-pack, and we sit there. We've got the wine. We sit there. We drink it, taste it together. The beauty is we're doing it at home, so you don't have to drive home afterwards or anything like that. You can swallow the wine and not spit it out. So that's how we overcome that with those online courses.
Good. I'm going to wrap it up now. So thank you very much to Jeff, to Joe, to Susan, and to Joshua for your insights today. Thank you to everyone who attended. Our next webinar will be held on Tuesday, the 9th of April, and it's a direct-to-consumer insights webinar presented by Georgia Rasmussen. And again, that's Tuesday, April the 9th. Further details will be available soon on the events page at the WCA website. For WCA members, all our recordings from previous webinars are held on our website under the education section, so feel free to go in and have a look. If you have any suggestions or questions on webinar topics, you'd love to cover it in the program, please email us. You'll see our email address on the website. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.